onto the content. First, the layers. So, overview of the layers. So we have the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous tissue. So the epidermis is the thinnest and the outermost layer. It contains most of your pigments, and it's essentially like the barrier, the first barrier, because it wraps around your entire body, mostly. Next is the dermis, which is the biggest and thickest layer. It contains nerve endings, oil and sweat glands, and hair follicles. And the subcutaneous, which is made up of fat, connective tissue, larger blood vessels, things like that. And then right under that would be your muscle. Okay, starting with the epidermis, the outermost layer. It's essentially the barrier or the shield for our body against the outside world. So the first line of defense we always have against bacteria, viruses, microbes, by acting as a physical barrier. When, say, a bacteria or virus comes close to you, it lands on your skin, like on your arm, and it gets trapped on your skin. Then you take a shower or wash your hands or whatever, and it washes it off. And the bacteria never even gets the chance to go inside and actually harm the cells, which is where the pathogens can actually hurt us. You know that, especially now, over the last couple of years, is very important. Washing hands, because that's how you get things off your skin. And don't touch your face, because things might end up on your skin, which acts as a shield. But then you touch your mouth, touch your nose, touch your eyes, anything like that, and everything from your skin can go inside, and that's how you get sick, and that's where it can hurt us. Okay, this layer also protects us from radiation, namely UV radiation from the sun. It's also what determines your skin color based on the number of melanin-producing melanocytes present in this layer. So the more you have, obviously, the more pigmentation you have in your skin, and that's why because it's meant the melanin is meant to protect your skin against UV radiation. If you were exposed to a lot of UV radiation, say you were going on vacation and you went like sunbathing, you would end up getting tan, which is a darker skin color, and that's because the number of melanocytes are increasing because there's a higher demand for it. And this also is why people from those like tropical areas that do get a lot of sunlight radiation tend to be have darker pigmentation in their skin than people who are from like snowy or northern or really southern countries where they don't have such a need for protection against UV radiation. Okay, next is the dermis. So this layer is where we have all our sweat glands, nerve endings, hair follicles, the biggest of the three layers, like size-wise, thickness. Sweat glands and hair are both very important for temperature regulation for humans, which we'll cover later on in this lecture, as I mentioned. But you know that they are located in this layer. Nerve endings in the skin are also located here, and they're obviously very important. Touch is one of our main senses. Pain, pressure, temperature sensors, among others, are found in this layer of skin, and they allow us to observe the qualities of things around us in ways that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. Like, for example, you can know if something is hot or cold by touching it, because you have in your dermis temperature sensors. You can't like see or hear or smell that something is hot or cold, just like you can't see or hear or smell that something is sharp or that it's round or that it's smooth or rough or things like that. And that's all because you have like pressure sensors, pain sensors, temperature sensors in your skin. These are all very important because obviously things that are sharp can pierce you. So you want pain sensors that are telling you there's something touching your skin that's very sharp. Stop before it like pierces through you, especially if it's like on your chest or in like somewhere that's important. It'll tell you stop before you get your insides hurt. Or if you're touching them that's hot, they'll tell you that's hot, get your hand off before you burn yourself and you like lose your ability to use your hand or something like that. Okay. Next is the subcutaneous layer, which is the innermost layer of the skin. It's the layer which contains most of our fat, connective tissue, and many of the blood vessels. Fat and blood vessels also have many functions, and one of which is thermoregulation, which we'll cover later. And it has many, many more, but you don't really have to know that. And like a lot of the blood vessels functions we've already covered in different lectures so far, like the circulatory system. Fat we've also covered. It's mainly used for storage of energy, which we covered in a lot of our glycolysis and ATP synthesis lectures. Okay, and this is again the final layer before the muscles start. And this is kind of a more diagram, just like I showed you before, showing the 3 layers and kind of showing you the things that are found inside again. This third layer, the bottom here, this is where your fat is. This is where your veins, arteries and veins are, your blood vessels, sorry. And so this is the middle layer, the dermis. Again, this is where hair starts. This is where you have these sweat glands and a lot of these nerve endings right here, right? And this is a capillary bed, but this is what I'm talking about. And again, this is the outermost layer, which is mainly just like a barrier. And obviously the hair goes all the way